Do you have to go through the open bracket, or can you chill on Friday, play some fun games? Oh, wait, there was a ghoul pull. OMG!
Very cool. Does it work, though? I mean, there's a reason. I feel like this isn't done with a Wisp that often, because it doesn't work. And it seems to not work. That's a dead Wisp. That's a big loss, but it is Priestess from RazerMoon. And it will be damage enough on the Ancient War to delay the creeping, to give the Potom time to get to that camp to creep jacket. Makes sense? I think so.
I think so too. Yeah, not bad. Also, just a little exclamation mark. You know, you start the series and you don't want your opponent to get into the groove, to get into his rhythm. And interrupting him first is a nice little strategical move, I gotta say.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Just like throwing your opponent off immediately at the start of a series when there's a little bit of nerves on the line. They both got to play Jens after this. Jens has been destroying everyone. So, you know, starting a series like this, I think, is a great way to do it. And the Potom, will it go straight across the map? I think that wouldn't be the worst choice for RazerMoon. Just continue this aggression. Pre-stolen as well.
Wow, that's some nice piercing damage to harass exactly this. Put some more damage on the Ancient. Get the Wisp off of repair. So the Ancient takes even more damage. And a potential steal on the Rock Golem if you're...
Ancient War's dead. Oh. Oh.
Is he though?
Okay, almost.
Ooh, that's so much repair though.
Potom's here. And Searing Arrow does affect buildings, but he's got to deal with the Wisp first. I don't think he's going to get the kill at this point, but the damage I feel like has been done. Priest will be cleaned up, but it's done its job. And another Wisp will go down. That's number 2. The Priest killed the first. The Priest dies to the Demon Hunter, who has a greater heal and slippers. Perfect items, by the way, for Dise. Couldn't be better. But still, this is great damage from RazerMoon. I like this early game so far.
Me too, man. A lot. Thank you, by the way, Xantor123, Insulin, KMS3D, and Peter from the North for the contributions towards this channel. Might be a day of the underdogs, but Dise, of course, has the class to recover from this. He must know, though, that a push is coming. We double down on the hunts on RazerMoon's side.
And RazerMoon creeping at the same time. He does need a Wisp to do this. Okay, he's pulling a Wisp now. Thank God. I didn't want to lose that Ancient War when he's playing Mass Hunts. And Berserker could be a very big deal if RazerMoon can steal it. That would mean much less piercing damage in the army of Dise against the Huntresses. And it's coming up in a second here. The Wisp is being dealt with, but the Potom could just Shadow Meld and wait, and then it's a battle of ping. And just get it.
Alrighty, of course, even conditions here. Who spams better? Well, that's not a question anymore, right? Everybody just rapid fires, and then it's a little bit of luck involved. Cleans the camp finally. That's the level 2. And now for the first time, Razor gotta run. I gotta say, by the way, at the beginning of this qualifier, I wanted to start a little rivalry of EU versus NA, etc, etc. Both American players are still alive. I'm a bit impressed.
Yeah, not bad. Not bad. They've both been playing great. They've both been showing better than even I thought they could do, to be honest. Before War3 Champions, I didn't know Jens was as good as he was, and he's proven it yet again here. And RazerMoon doing the same. I know RazerMoon for a while. He's been grinding for a while. I've seen lots of his games, but to make it this far, to play this well, definitely very, very impressive. One of his better tournament runs, I'd have to say.
For sure. And now, question is, how do you crack this nut that is Dise, who has been exposed to these pushes many, many, many times, of course, and should know how to defend them by now, but... There's still a Shadow... No, Shadow Priest went down. Hunt numbers rising. Berserker pretty nice, even though the damage type doesn't really fit. Takes damage away from Dise against the Hunts, and that's super nice.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to break this base. The base build from Dise is perfect. We've seen many Night Elves build bad bases and just lose the game because of that. Against the Huntress push, you of course want the base to be open, but not too open, blockable with a Demon Hunter and a couple of units, maybe even sometimes just a Demon Hunter, and be able to have the range in the back next to the Moonwells and just hold the Huntresses. If you let the Hunts get on top of these medium armor units, the Hunts will kill all of them. The Demon Hunter also has that greater heal, which gives them more stability. It's going to be tough for RazerMoon, in short, to break this base. Maybe he wants to think about going for an expansion instead of all-inning, but we'll see.
Yeah, so far, no movement in that regard. Also, no glaives yet. The race to 40 food has been won by him. And this is the prepper push. Trying to drain as much moon juice as possible before daytime starts. And then hit as hard as possible when the moon juice ends.
Yeah, exactly. The prepper push, as you put it. Even if you have to burn the town portal to go for this sort of a push to drain those moon wells, it's worth it. If you have to dive into the base and TP out, totally acceptable. Panda's here, and he finds every wisp in the entire world, but doesn't want to go for them. It would take 2 breaths, and he does go for Haze just to find the Berserker kill, but not going to get it. But still defends, and doesn't take too much damage. The moon wells aren't completely drained.
Yeah, this, I don't want to say it's botched, because he did exactly what he was supposed to do. It was just very well held. Dise in position, he knew this push would be coming.
Oh, surrounded the demon.
Oh! Well, that's a portal. Didn't even see that.
He was trying to just block to save the Berserker, and then he was like, I got 4 units here, I'll just go for a surround, and just happened to land it the first time. I think he would have been happy with just any sort of block, but got the surround. And now, very importantly, Dise can't really, although he might be right now, can't really take any risks. If he gets creepjacked with his archers out in the open, he'll lose every single one of them to the Huntresses. He can't creep greedily without a town portal, but he's trying to, weirdly.
Yeah, goes to the lab. There's Wisp on RazerMoon's side on the right hand. So maybe AP's coming. We still don't see any glaives. Ancient of War down. Muddy is coming. Oh. RazerMoon and the Mercs, man. Demon surrounded. Has to let it go, though. Doesn't want to throw too much damage on the hero that's so tanky and has a heal potion.
Well, this is really good for RazerMoon, though. He's putting so much damage. The Moonwells, remember, the Greater Heal is going to have to be burned. The Staff is on the wrong hero. He can swap it over quite easily, though. Mud Golem's being focused down, but both these players are known, honestly, for their Mud Golem control. Dise, especially, is so good with this unit. Doesn't just lose it. Panda is going to die, but without a mana, without a health, can come back from the altar in no time. Base is being blocked by an Ancient War, and the archers are trying to retreat. This is looking really good for RazerMoon out of nowhere, though. That TP force.
Is it opposite day today? The underdogs are shining through, and it's just a tap out! I don't know if he said GG or not. It's Dise, probably not, but it's his friend, so probably yes. But anyway, RazerMoon with the upset and the 1 and the 0.
Excellent game from RazerMoon, honestly. A good game plan. The Wisp pull to delay just a little bit. I thought at first, I was like, oh, that doesn't work. But it does enough damage to allow the continued pressure. He sends another Wisp and buys the Priest. And then again, the pressure continues. Sends the Bottom. Again, the pressure continues. Creeps behind it with the Ancient War. Gets level 2 without having to really go back home. Steals both Berserkers. Pressures the archers to drain the Moonwells, lands that surround, maybe slightly lucky, maybe a slight mistake from Dise, but still lands it first try, no slip-ups. Like a really, really solid game from RazerMoon. And Dise, it's hard to say what the big mistakes were other than getting surrounded.
Yeah, with that town portal, this game would have looked a whole lot different. He was under pressure the entire time, but he also defended well. I thought, all right, this will probably work out somehow, as he always makes it work somehow. That Panda, I don't know if I'm a huge fan with the way he was played there, but that's about it, man. But that surround was just chef kiss great.
Yeah. Yeah, and it wasn't like a classic NA, I tried to surround you 12 times and I landed the 1. It was the only time he went for it. 1 4-point surround, clean, TP gone. Really well done. And yeah, I suppose the hazes from the Panda weren't the greatest. There was a time when RazerMoon just bought the Mud Golem and the Panda used the second haze of the game, and it only landed on 1 Huntress because for some reason he chose the rightmost hunt of the group. A little strange, but maybe the Panda overall, as you mentioned, not the perfect choice. Tinker would be, for instance, another option. But we'll see. Game number 2.
I do what the perfect choice is, and that is to smash that sub button here on the Back to Warcraft stream on Twitch, just like my style did, for the 50th time. 50, baby. Half a century. That's right. And also, Exilas43, keeping it up. 5 months. This is 0 missing, but who cares if a 0 is missing? We have a score. 1-0 for the underdog. We could have 2 upsets back to the back if RazerMoon takes 1 more map off of Dise.
Okay, probably going to be a slightly different tempo to the game this time around. We're already seeing it a little bit slower. No Wisp pull, which is warranted because it wouldn't do anything. And different creep routes. RazerMoon going for the Mercenary camp, and Dice going for the standard Mammoth camp. So we will probably see Demon Hunter from both, I want to say, but there is the thought in Dice's head, do I go Keeper to counter the possibility of Priestess? So there's this sort of triangle metagame going on right now.
It is indeed interesting. This is a meta we had for quite some time where the heroes just revolve, and if you're sure that your opponent is not going Demon Hunter, you can even go very crazy and go Warden or Keeper, but not the case here. We have reversed roles in Bottom for Dice and Demon for Razor.
All right, Razor will be ahead in experience. He'll probably be especially ahead because Immolation is a possibility. With this creep camp, he'll have access to Mercenaries, which is going to be great against the Huntresses. But with access to Mercenaries comes the possibility, again, of your opponent stealing them. So that's something that's up to Dice to try to do. Wisp will scout the bottom, and this is a early scout. So once he sees no second Moonwell, he should know that it's bottom, and then he'll be able to save the Wisp. Otherwise, if he saw the bottom come out of the altar, Searing Arrow, and the Wisp is just dead. So yeah, if he scouts the Hunter's Hall, he'll now know the build order without ever having to see the hero.
All right, then let's see if Razor can deal with this better than Dice did previously. We have another mercenary camp here on the map. It's slightly different, but essentially the same, except if you have Summoner's Heroes on the map, then of course the Dispel is lacking, which is not the case here with Bottom and Demon, but we have a Harass. And yesterday we had Razor vs Soima, which was freaking crazy with Dark Rangers and Tinkers and all those shenanigans. Hopefully we get something like that anyway.
Yeah, it could be a similar strategy this time around. Bottom is putting some damage in, but being mana burnt. Of course, it is Searing Arrow first. The Inner Fire is making it difficult for RazerMoon to clean up this creep camp, but eventually he will, and any damage he takes, the Priest should make up for. And this Harass, so far, I would say, not a success. Almost all the health and mana gone on that Priestess.
Yeah, relatively easy as well. Just burn, burn, burn. Not a Ring of Fire, but also no Ring of Fire around the arrows, as the mana is completely gone. The Mercenary pickup would be big, but I'm not sure if it can sustain the attack.
Well, Ancient War does actually get that last hit. That denies level 2. That's a kind of a whoopsie-doopsie, but... Ooh, no Ring of Fire, but a Ring of Regen. That's a pretty excellent item in this sort of a game.
That's perfect. You want the damage to end up on the demon. You get some free regen. You save some moon juice, which you need for the attack that is inevitably coming. Or is it that inevitable? Because there is this expansion Mass Dryad play, but I don't know if the tech timings line up.
Yeah, it is 2 Ancient Wars, but this doesn't always mean you have to commit to the all-in. That's even what I was saying last game, but RazerMoon proved me wrong there, of course. But you can always go for an expansion. You can always go for a tech. You can always fake your opponent out, make them overreact to the defenses. Maybe something like a Tinker, an AP back at home, a delayed tier 3, and then you're like, oh, I'm just going to tech myself, or oh, I'm just going to expand myself as the Priestess player. So there is room for Dice to do that, having known the Harass just went so poorly for him, honestly.
Well, we're leveling. Gloves of Haste, not bad for a Demon Hunter either. Plus 18% attack speed, on top of a lot of attack speed. Scales nicely. Same can be said for the Bottom, who dashes out more Searing Arrows like that. And the Ring of Superiority. Why do they make these words so hard for the non-natives? Never wrong either.
I do struggle with that. Superiority as well. I really have to really say it clearly. Oh, Archer's caught out. I was talking about this last game. Berserker and Archers. This is the opportunity when you might even want a Town Portal because you're going to lose a lot, including that Berserker. Maybe he was at the Moonwells. He just had to actually click the Moonwell.
Uh-oh, that didn't work. Dice with some nice Huntress Micro here on the right-hand side. Another one saved. Another Mercenary going down. And yo, this is not allowed to happen. He got a dust. Yep, I saw it. The Wisp is at the lap at the upper right-hand side. It's very little reveal time-wise, but it's so impactful in that specific scene.
This is what I mean. Archers are great defensively, but as always, in pretty much every matchup, they're only good next to Moonwells. Oh, and he loses an Archer, he loses the Berserker, he loses the Priest, and he loses so much Moon Juice. Very, very tricky. The Bottom's almost level 3 now as well after those kills. The Mercenaries, of course, give tons of extra experience.
Yo, that was the big attack by Dise, and it worked so wonderfully. Super nice prep to have that Wisp in position at the lab for the reveal, as if he saw that coming like a minute ago.
Yeah, nicely done. He knew if he caught those archers out, he'd be able to do a play like that. And he does go for it. And now shop coming up. RazerMoon in a similar situation, just with less units to defend the all-in, and the priestess is going to be level 3. And now the thing is, this opens up Dise strategically. He's probably scared RazerMoon enough that RazerMoon is going to overcommit to defenses back home. I doubt we're going to see a tier 3 tech anytime soon. This means that Dise could just go for a Tree of Life if he wanted to, instead of going for the all-in. Not to say the all-in won't work, though.
It looks like... Ooh, second Ancient of War in front instead of an AP. We go for Dryads. You're right on the money with the skip tech for now, at least. And when you face Dryads, you kind of chuckle a bit, I guess, because the perfect solution to that is Glaives. And Glaives are usually a horrible unit, but in this matchup, they're pretty damn good.
Yeah, you can have definitely some weird armies in this matchup. You can have, you know, a later situation where the only way to keep your Glaives alive is to put them in a Zeppelin, and then you always have, you know, this Glaive Zeppelin group of your army. It is Tinker second for RazerMoon, and that Ancient War in the front, as you mentioned. Chop, single, Lord. This is pretty much, except for the Tinker second, what Dise was trying to do before he lost last game. And there is a town portal for RazerMoon. What are the moon wells like? A decent amount, actually. He's got about, what, 600, 700 moon juice. And the TP is being used. Just, he should use it anyway to be more defensive, positionally.
Yeah, I agree. Would have caught too many Huntress Glaives. Speaking of Glaives, they're coming now. Wisps are here as well. Can he hold this? No rockets, no engineering upgrade. Mana burn, quite nice. Is that enough, I wonder?
Well, positioning is pretty good. The Ancient War could cancel the AP if he could only see it. The range is getting back towards the moon wells. Wouldn't mind a moonstone in this situation because the Huntresses, it doesn't really matter. You either hold here or you lose. Don't allow those hunts to get on top of the archers. First Dryad is out, and that's really, really useful. Tinker can put down another Pocket Factory soon. Mud Golem for each player. One of them goes down, and the next one could be focused by RazerMoon, but the APs are coming up in the back, and the Glaives are on their way.
Pocket Factory in a more defensive position. Hopefully get some of these Clockwork Goblins out. But Dise, nice heal scroll. Held on to this for a long time. Might be able to save 2 Hunches with that. That's one going down. Dryads offer quite a bit of control, but it doesn't look like Dice's push is slowing down as the Glaives are entering the fight, and that means bye-bye Dryads.
Tinker's level 2, you can no longer just sacrifice it if it gets out of mana, out of health. If it was level 1, you could, but it is just going to be died this time around. Is died dead, Neo, and 2 Glaives are here, and the Moonwells are now being focused. And seems like Potom is the way to win in this series, at least.
Damn. The artist formerly known as Stronic strikes back. Ancient of War gets another Mud Golem kill, but that's the last line of defense. And the siege has arrived. The Moonwells are falling. That Razor isn't too sharp this game.
When was the last time you saw a Demon Hunter die with a mana potion in his inventory? That's the first for me. GG is called, and it's 1-1 apiece. We're going to map number 3. A tense series so far between these two.
A very one-sided series, isn't it?
Yeah.
In both games, just one time one-sided for the one guy, and the other time one-sided for the other guy. And that, as you eloquently said, it brings us to game 3. It is very hard to pick a favorite now, I gotta say.
Yeah, it was really one big mistake from each player. The TP from the surround in game 1 for Dise, and getting caught out at the green camp by RazerMoon in game number 2, losing those 3 units. It's against Huntresses, you just have to be very, very defensive. It's almost in Night Elf Mirror, Huntresses is the equivalent of playing maybe like Mass Raiders in Orkmere, like Farseer Firelord Mass Raiders. If you get caught out before a certain timing in the game, you just lose because Huntresses just win against archers in an open battlefield. So you have to be very defensive. Your scouting has to be super on point. You can creep, yes, but you have to not get creep checked. And if you do, you TP as soon as you see the first Huntress, or else you lose your entire army. And that's what happened in game number 2. And we'll see if that's what happens in game number 3. Shallow Grave, less likely to see Priest. This is a bigger map.
Yeah, this could open up a lot of possibilities, like a Beastmaster even, if you want to be really fancy. But we'll see about that. The fight for survival is on. If Razer loses here, he has to play in the open bracket as his ticket is locked in. For Dise, we are really not sure yet if he has a ticket or not. There are rumors, but we don't know. His dream of coming to Rara Land again and meeting a bunch of friends could die right here in the next 15 minutes.
It's all going to come down to this map, and this isn't even the end of the road yet. The winner of this has to play Jens, which is going to arguably be a more difficult series. Less preparation, probably know him less as an opponent. It could be very, very difficult. Desync, so we'll get a rehost, and then we'll get to see the strategies.
That is unfortunate, but better to have it here in the early stages of the game than later when we have to do admin decisions and it's all quite stressful. No stressful here. Hopefully we'll all sort out. Yeah, we didn't see any build orders, something like that, right? No.
No, nothing. Yeah, an admin decision in this tournament would be a nightmare, or in this situation, there'd be so many conspiracy theories, Neo. Just imagine. Oh my god, he gave Dise the win because he didn't want to pay for the ticket for RazerMoon.
Oh my god, dude.
It'd be a nightmare.
The Twitter tinfoil people from Insub's Discord. Yeah, no.
It would be so awful to make an admin decision in this series. Okay. Game number 3. Both players raced up yet again. And now we'll get to see the strategies. I didn't even see the spawn, so I don't even know. It's a new game.
I think Dise was bottom right. Let's see.
Oh, well, okay.
What?
Maybe it'll be the same. Okay. Now I know. Ignorance is bliss, Neo, and you ruined that bliss for me.
Sorry. But this time, it's, I guess, the other way around. And I throw you into game number 3, Decider. Tournament life for the loser of this ends right here. Dise upper left,
okay.
Razer bottom right, both with 1-1. Let's go.
It's gotta be Demon Hunter for both, right? There's no way they're playing both Potom. I know Potom has worked both times, but it's such a big map now. Nerves are on the line. They haven't shown anything like a keeper yet or anything crazy. I think they're both too scared, I would argue, to play anything too crazy. It's gotta be Demon Hunter for both. It's gotta be.
Could also be Potom for both. We don't have a tavern build order. That's, I guess, good for us. So, is there someone who has the balls to go something else than Demon or Potom?
Yeah, game number 3 of the Decider, the last map one of these players will play in the qualifier. Let's see. What will it be? Will they risk the Potom? Oh, my lord. Potom versus Demon again.
Okay, Potom so far, 100% win rate, just like the blue player. So one of these streaks is ending now.
Okay, same ancient war camp this time around. There's room for a little bit of variety on this map, but it's really between 2 camps. There's the good luck from both. And we'll see. It was one mistake that cost both of these players a single game so far. Will the Demon Hunter slip up again? That's where the mistakes have been held. So we'll see if RazerMoon can play a cleaner game this time around.
Oh, the answer seems easy. Just don't do mistakes. Especially with that lightning shield. This has ruined many early games if you don't do it perfectly. If you pull the archer too late. If you hit that stop button on the Ancient of War a bit too late. Then a lot of experience is gone. Second lightning shield. Hey, but this looks clean.
Very nicely done. A great start to the creeping. Dise is a little bit slower, but Potom typically is a little bit slower with the creeping. And if the Demon Hunter can get some creeping done in the early game, that means he doesn't have to risk it with the archers against the huntresses later. I'm also wondering, from the side of Dice, is there room for some variation? They've both gone for all-ins with the Priestess. That's on their mind. That's what they're countering. That's what RazerMoon's playing against. Will Dice switch it up with that Expo I keep mentioning?
Yeah, that could open up the game for Dryads. That sweet little save, draining a bit of extra mana from the bottom. We gotta say, the first map we saw was the neutral playground. Springtime was Dice's losers map, so Shallow Grave is where RazerMoon wanted to play on, his comfort pick. Let's see if that turns out to be true. So far, no big variation from the first two games we've seen before, both with claws as well.
Great items for the Demon Hunter, but he's taking a decent amount of damage. He was creeping because of that damage anyway. Oh, Demon Hunter, careful. He overextended a little bit. And 2 more attacks. It's a TP. Is he really having a TP already? Is that the mistake? Is that it? It's been one mistake apiece that's cost these games, and that is a huge overstep. Look at the Moonwells. They're already completely drained, Neo.
That is not a good sign at the 3-minute 30 mark. You want to creep now. The Ancient of War is still in position here because it needed to produce archers. And if you creep, then you lose HP and then you can't really refill it. Not a perfect start for Razor, I gotta say.
Another Wisp is going down now, too. Archers are being used as wards. Berserker it seems like it's being geared up to get by either of these players, but they're both just scouting. Okay, Demon Hunter does heal up now. The Moonwells are completely drained, but they will be able to replenish over time. Priestess is here, is just looking for more Wisps. Why not? The base is open for now.
Looking good. Just a bit of right clicks. Don't let the Demon Hunter unfold his level 3. And grind more items and pimp him up. Oh, counter block. Archer looking amazing. And I guess that stops the harass for now.
Yeah, some damage was taken. Maybe an overstep there from Dice. I thought he could maybe get at least a Wisp, but not able to get anything. And now the damage on the Priestess may allow RazerMoon to go for this mercenary camp, but that's what the Archer was scouting for. Oh, but RazerMoon is aware. Again, these players know each other. They've probably talked about this exact Archer
many times, but that also Dice knows that RazerMoon would be going here, and he comes in with a Huntress attack, which is also super powerful.
And overstep again. Archer's out of position. It's equal numbers, but that does not mean you can win the fight. That is a lot more falling for RazerMoon right there. But he gets the creeping, gets the Berserker and the Priest. Is this worth it to get to level 3 to get a possible greater heal, I wonder?
He needs a very good item, man, because his numbers are 4. 4 units. That's it. At least tier 2 is done. Needs a second hero ASAP. Needs to get the lowers up. And Dice on the other side. Creeping up as well with the Ancient of War here. Otherwise it would be quite painful with all that piercing damage versus Huntress. Doesn't... Oh, AP on the right-hand side.
And RazerMoon is being greedy as well. He thinks with that forced TP, he could just chill. Which, to be fair, the Moonwells haven't been preemptively drained through that early Huntress push. He killed some units, but he didn't drain the Moonwells. And I wonder with this greater mana, do you just go Panda? No, he sells it. Okay, I was thinking instead of Tinker, you go Panda and just go Breath first, but nope. Selling it, preparing. Double lore on the way. No shop yet. And the AP, I don't think it was scouted. There's no Ultra Vision, so he won't see that AP with that Ancient of War and the Demon Hunter. Super out of position. Staff of Teleportation, though.
Oh man, this is not great. Owl is here. They're all caught out. When do you respond? Of course, if you staff on a unit, that thing is immobilized and will easily or could easily be killed because it's just an armada of Huntress riding towards RazerMoon's base, and I'm not quite sure if there's even a chance to hold.
I don't think so. RazerMoon was blind countering an expansion. We see that's why he bought the staff and ran across the map to try to cancel. He was just blindly expecting a Tree of Life, which honestly I thought would happen at least once in this series. But Dice didn't change anything up. This is just a loss in kind of a build order, it feels like. We'll see if he can hold. He's trying to get an AP. He's got double lures coming up, but RazerMoon on paper just shouldn't win with how greedy he's been expecting that Tree of Life.
Yeah, Night Elf Mirror between two people who know each other well. It's just rock, paper, scissors the entire time. With hard counters here and there and timings that punish you here and there. And maybe RazerMoon flipped it one time too many as Dise was going for standard. He expected something else and now he's up against 3 APs.
His own AP will get up. He's got at least a bear out, and Rejuve is going to be extremely useful. But yeah, 3 APs, as you mentioned, is tough, and supply block is going to come into play in a second. Bottom will get it. That's a very early rejuvenation, but I suppose it will be relatively efficient. Moonwell goes down, need to be rebuilt in the back immediately.
Does it stop if you're full health? No, right?
No, but it obviously not very efficient, but it'll keep going until it runs out.
Now we got an orb. Poison damage. Finally tier 3. No master bears yet. He will need them, but the counter them is already there. As we skip dryads, we have very little to spell against this amazing crowd control tool.
So Demon Hunter on his own pretty much. He has no Ancient War to get flamethrowers. And the Moonwells are being focused down. I just don't see a way out. RazerMoon, you were too greedy. You blindly countered the fast expansion, or not fast, the expansion overall, and this is what you get.
Dise realizing this super quickly, doubles down on the push. And oh my, this just, I mean, every man should plant a tree in his life, but that's a little overboard now, no?
2 Blaze. All the Moonwells are being cleaned up, and they're weirdly enough not being rebuilt in the back at all. At this stage, I'm afraid it doesn't matter, but it could have before. The orb is great, but that Mud Golem is so underutilized by many players other than Dise, I feel like. He uses it so well.
Yeah, incredible, man. When there's no dispel. GG, good luck. Next, Dise takes it after being down a map, warming up, gets the W and another W, and throws RazerMoon into the open bracket of Raraland because he has that ticket secured, travel already booked. RazerMoon will be in Dortmund, but hopefully he's not getting PTSD from last year's open bracket where he wanted to go into that top 16, but Tetsta and the Orc Tower push stopped him. Maybe time for redemption this year, as Tetsta is also gonna be there. But yeah, Dise moves on. RazerMoon eliminated.